Are you ready?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Very good. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Ibi Speaks, and welcome to the December edition of Ibi Speaks. I'm happy to be here today, and my special guest today is one whom I'm well pleased in. She's my baby girl. She's my friend. She's my sister. Her name is Florence Omotayo Ajala. Hi, Florence. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about, it's Christmas, it's going to be Christmas very soon. And you know, all the way Christmas is, and, everyone is, parents will be running helter-skelter to try to get the right kind of toys for kids, for their children. So I keep saying kids, for their children. So today we're going to be talking about, the perfect Christmas toys for your children. And I think that this particular episode is very important because it is beyond just choosing toys for your children.
Yeah.
It is beyond choosing toys for children. So before I delve into the conversation proper, I just want to thank each and everyone who's here with us today, and welcome to you again to Ibi Speaks. And if you are a first-time viewer, I want to say thank you so much. And I also want to thank my faithful viewers who have been a part of my journey. I am highly, highly appreciative of the time that you've taken to spend time with us here. And I just want to say that if you have subscribed to my YouTube channel, thank you. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, now, let me tell you why it's important that you subscribe. When you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you help this channel grow. And then you ginger me, to do more. So at the end of this conversation, I hope that you would learn, about what to look out for when you want to buy Christmas gifts or even toys in general for your children. And my special guest today is Florence Omotayo Ajala. And she has a bachelor's in early childhood care and education. She has a graduate diploma in education, and she's a third-year PhD candidate in reflective pedagogy. Yeah, did I get the pronunciation right?
Yeah,
pedagogy, yeah, and childhood studies. She is a tutor in early childhood studies based in the Republic of Ireland, and she also creates content on early childhood and development on YouTube and Facebook, and her YouTube channel or her name is Early Years Matters TV. So Florence.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much for having me on this episode of Ibi Speaks. I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's good to be here to share my wealth of knowledge with people all over the world, and I'm never going to take this for granted. I really do appreciate you for having me. Thank you once again.
So guys, I'm sure you'll be wondering what a childhood expert has to do with toys. And I'll say this, Sister Florence, I call you Sister Florence, well, because, Florence, or Dr. Ilu, right? I used to have a gift shop a long time ago in Nigeria. I used to do corporate gifts, and I used to do children's party packs. So during Christmas, we'll do toys for parents as well as for corporate organizations. So we used to think about, okay, so doing, having different age grades and the kind of toys we want to have for different age grades. Yeah. At the time when I was doing that, over the top of my head, I always said, okay, so I want to have something that the children can play with, something children can read, and something children can do. So that was the concept on which, or the basis on which I chose toys. But I read something that you wrote on LinkedIn, and I watched something on your Facebook, on your YouTube channel, and I saw that there is more to just going to pick toys for children.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, there is. And so in the first instance, you need to know before going to pick out toys for your children, there are some things that you have to think about. There are some things that you have to take into consideration. Gone are the days where you just go to the store and say, yes, this is a toy that I'm going to be buying for my child, or this is a toy that I want to buy for my child. You need to take a lot of things into consideration. So I'm going to be listing some of the things that you have to take into consideration when buying toys for your children. The first thing is you need to look at the toy. Is it age appropriate? This is really important. You need to make sure that the toy that you're buying for your child or your children is age appropriate. You're not just going to go to the store that, oh yeah, I'm going to buy a toy for Johnny, and you just grab any toy that you see, oh, this is what I'm going to buy for my child. You need to consider the age of your child. This is really important, okay? So if your child is 5 years old, so when you're going about buying toy, you need to ensure that you're buying the toy that specifies the age group. And where would you find this? You're going to find it in the pack. It's going to be in the description of the toy. It will say, sometimes it could be in the front or in the back. This is important. I know sometimes because it's coming to Christmas now, we're rushing. We don't even think from the point of, okay, is the toy that I'm going to be buying for my child or children, is it age appropriate? We're rushing, you know, it's Christmas, coming to Christmas time now. Everybody are just rushing, oh, what gift will I buy for my child? Some will not even think about it. They just go and say, okay, I've only 2 days, I'm busy. Okay, let me just grab this toy. Sure, my child is going to like the toy. The first thing you need to think is consider the age of your child or your children. So you need to make a list. Do not just go to the store like you're grabbing a toy. You know, the way when we're in a rush, we grab a toy. You need to have a list of the things that you have to take into consideration before buying toys for your children. You need to tick the list. So the first thing is age appropriate. So the toy that you're going to be buying for your child or your children, it has to be age appropriate. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay. So the second thing you need to take into consideration is the toy going to be of interest to the child? Okay, we are in the 21st century now. We need to focus on the interest of the child. And this is one thing I do say to my students. I say this on my channel all the time. It's all about the child now. You put the child at the center of what you're doing or what you're going to be doing. It's not all about we as adults. We've had our own childhood. So it's the children's childhood now. It's the children we're talking about. So look at the toy. The toy I'm going to be buying for my child. Is this toy going to interest my child? Would the child be interested in this toy? Which, when you look at it, I'm not being judgmental, but not many people will think of it. The two things that I've listed so far, not many people will think of age appropriate. Not many people will think of, would this toy interest my child? You look at it, let's say, for instance, like young children, you're looking at, oh, jigsaws. Oh, yes, my child should love Jesus. You just go and grab it. You don't know if it's going to interest the child or not. And that's why sometimes when you buy a toy that children don't like, you see them, they only spend a few minutes on it, and they say they don't want it anymore. And I'm sure it is going to make sense because some of us that we're parents, we understand. I've made these mistakes in the past myself. I'm not going to come here and say, oh yeah, I'm 100%. We all have made mistakes in one way or the other. In the past, I just go to the shop, grab a toy. Yes, my children should love this toy. And that's why sometimes you see them, after a while, maybe they'll play with that toy for like a day or two. The first time that you're buying it for them, you gave it to them the first day, second day, they're so much interested in it, they like it, they want to play with it. Watch out after the second day, if it's not something that they're interested in, they're going to put the toys away. And you as the adult, you'll be giving out because it knows that, it costs you money. You'll be giving out and after spending so much money buying this toy. And now you just left it behind. So what's going to happen now? What happened to my money? I just wasted my money. So you need to ensure that it's going to interest the child. And for you to know if it's going to interest the child, this is where observation comes in, okay? In the era of early childhood, before buying toys for children, you need to observe them, okay? Because when you observe them, you're definitely going to know what they like and what they don't like, okay? So as a parent, you might be thinking like, how can you observe your children? Observation is in two forms. Apologies now. I know I'm going deeper into early childhood studies.
Wait. Now, before we continue, right? So I just want to thank those of us who are joining us for the first time. And today we're talking about age-appropriate, you said we're talking about Christmas toy idea for your children. And I just want to say that Florence Omotayo Ajala is an expert in early childhood education. And she just said that gone are the days when parents would just hop into a shop and buy anything that they like for their kids. And you can be a part of this conversation by leaving your opinions, your experiences, and your questions in the comment box if you're watching via Zoom, and if you're watching via YouTube, in the comment section below. So, Florence, you can please continue.
I'm telling you, I know I'm going deeper in there.
I know you're feeling it. I can feel you.
I'm sorry. If I'm going too high, you can just tell me, Florence, please come down to our level. So I'll pick it up from where I stopped. I said, you have to make sure that the toy will interest your children. And I know the question you'll be thinking is, how will I know if this toy is going to interest my child or children? This is where you have to observe your children. And observation is in two forms, with formal and informal observation. Okay, so informal observation will be mostly applicable to parents. Okay, so you could be cooking, you could be doing anything, you could be spreading clothes, you might be busy doing something, but at the same time, you're observing your children. You know, when you observe them when they play, you definitely know what they like to play with. Like, I know my children, I know what they like to play with. So it's helping me when I want to buy something for them. I know if I buy this for my child is definitely going to like this, okay? Another way you could also know if it's going to interest the child is if they are grown-up children, have a discussion with them. What would you like for Christmas? Okay, so have a discussion with them and say, okay, it's coming to Christmas now. What would you like mommy or daddy to get you for Christmas? But I'm going to say something here. You know, sometimes when you give the children the opportunity to ask what they want for Christmas, they might go on asking for things.
That is where the problem. I remember when my children were growing, right? My son, I know that when I say this, he say, "Mom." My little girl, the other girl, you know, my daughter then would say something like more kind of nonsense thing. My first daughter would say something like High School Musical bag or something like that. Huh? My other daughter would say, "Mommy, give me a Barbie hotel." I'm like, but my son gives you his list. It's like somebody punched you on your stomach.
I'm telling you.
He would give it something, say something very expensive. And I'm like, so that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Of asking them what they want.
I know, but that's why I'm going to give tips in that area to help you. So first thing is tell them the budget, okay? So you could tell them, for instance, I've only 50 euros to spare, okay?
Budget.
I've 60 euros to spare. This is really important. I want you all to be taking notes. If you have any questions as well,
I'm taking notes, yeah.
Okay, so tell them the budget, especially we're talking about grown-up kids, children now. But you know, if they're early childhood, younger children, like early childhood in Ireland is from children from birth to 6 years. So this is my area of expertise, okay? But in other countries, we have early childhood, could be children from birth to 8. So if you are that parent that you have grown-up children, tell them the budget, okay? So tell them at 50 euros. If you're based in Nigeria, you can say, okay, for this Christmas, it's 5,000 naira worth of thing that you could buy or I can get you. So now tell me what you want, okay? So another thing you also need to take into consideration that, you know, children will always be children. There are some things that they might ask you that you yourself will know that it doesn't worth it, okay?
Okay.
And it's really important that you have to take your stand there, okay? I'm still coming to the part that I would explain that the toys has to promote learning, okay? I'm still coming to that.
Very good.
So let me finish with this one now, okay? So like I was saying, so you tell them the budget that you have. Okay, it's 5,000 naira. It's 20 euros that what of thing that you could get for Christmas. So now tell me, what do you want? Okay, so if they now tell you, okay, this is what they want. And if you can afford it, Then you now have to think of how the toy is going to promote learning. Okay, in the area of early childhood, this is really important. I do say to my students, I do say to people, do not give anything to a child that will not promote learning.
I have to write that down.
Okay, do not give a toy, do not give anything to a child that will not promote learning. Especially now, let me break it down to early childhood. The period from early childhood, from birth to 6, from birth to 8, is crucial in the lives of young children. This is the time that they're learning life skills. This is the time that they're learning a lot of things, practical skills. And the skills that they learn from that age, from birth to 8 years, these are the skills that they are going to need for later on in life. And it's been proven by research as well that the period from birth to 5, this is a period of 90% brain formation. I'm going to repeat this again. The period from birth to 5, 90% brain formation takes place during the period from birth to 5.
Fantastic.
And I'm telling you, if we don't grab that period from birth to 5, we're definitely going to miss it. I'm telling you, because look at it, if brain formation takes place from birth to 5, so now look at it, 90%. So we're left with 10%.
Yeah.
So it means from the age of 5 upwards till adult. So it means 10% brain formation takes place then. And you can instill it in them. Early childhood is all about children learning through play. I know I'm going too further now.
Yeah, the play is a new form of research.
Yeah, early childhood is the period that children are learning through play. You want to teach them life skills. You do this through play. You want to teach them empathy. You do it through play. You want them to learn to share. You teach them through play. You want them to be able to accommodate people. You teach them through play. The period from birth to 6, it's not a time you're going to say to the child, okay, sit down, you have to share. There are ways that you have to go about it. You do it through fun. You do it through play. And the child is going to definitely learn to share. They're going to learn all of those skills, which would help them as they grow up in life. So now back to what we're discussing today.
Okay.
So it's really important, like I was saying, do not give any toy to a child that will not promote learning, okay? When you're choosing toy, think of it, how will this toy promote learning? Because, we all want our children to learn, we all want them to develop. And it's important that we have to give them the things that will make them to learn, that will make them to develop. Okay, so these are the things that you have to take into consideration before purchasing a toy or going about buying toys. And one last thing is, if you're going to buy the toys, make sure that you are buying it from reputable source.
No, before we get there, we're going to get there. Yeah, we're going to get there. But I want to build up on this whole toy thing, right? So you've talked about age appropriate. You've talked about the interest of the child. You've talked about budget. You've talked about, of course, tell them your budget if you're going to if you're dealing with older kids, and that whatever toy that you buy must promote learning. You said don't give a child a toy that doesn't promote learning. So, like I said, I had done gifts for children, and I know that one of the most difficult things for parents sometimes is to think about, okay, so what toys would I buy for my girls? What toys would I buy for boys? So can you give us, without promoting any particular, now this program is not about promoting any particular kind of brand or any company. It is not promoting anything. We're just, helping parents to know more. So before we go on with that question, let me just take a comment that one of our listeners have made. It says, I allow them to make a list of what they want. After checking it, I tell them to prioritize it according to the needs, not wants, because I have learned that anytime I buy what they want, they don't normally use it. They are just happy for the fact that they have it in possession, not that they will use it. It's at this point I make them understand I won't go beyond a particular amount. That's fantastic. So sometimes, like this, my listener is saying, allow them to make a list of what they want. So you talked about age appropriate. You talked about toys. So can you give us the types or the kinds of toys that we'll be looking at, for age 1, for age 2, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So before I go into the type of the toys, I wanted to say something that one of the criteria that you have to fulfill when you're buying toys for children is make sure that you're buying them from reputable sources. Make sure they are sources that you trust, that they are well known. Like for instance, in Ireland now, we have the likes of like Mother Care, Smith Toys, like so that those types of organizations or stores. We know that they are selling reputable things. So, and the reason why I'm saying this is, for instance, if something happens, with those toys, you know where you can go back to. Especially now that it's coming to Christmas, now we have to be careful of counterfeit toys, fake toys all over the place. I'll quickly share a story. I don't know if you're familiar with this story. I think it's 2 years ago in Ireland. There was something on RTE News in relation to toys. There's some toys, and there's some toys that, thank God that they were able to stop them from the ship, not to bring those toys into Ireland. That if they bring those toys to Ireland, it could have caused like choking hazards,
Exactly, sometimes lead poisoning and all that. I remember that there was a time when a particular very huge company, I don't want to mention the name, but it's an American company, and they had a shipment, or rather they had these toys that they had to recall because it had lead in them.
Can you imagine?
They had lead, and most toys sometimes, if we're not careful, have lead in them. So you're talking about, for example, if you live in Ireland or if you live in Western, so for example, if you live in America, you could have Toys R Us on all those, I don't know if Toys R Us is in America, but then all those big reputable companies. And you talked about choking hazard, but we're going to go there step by step because I want us to take it to look at it systematically. So you've talked about the shops that you can buy. So Mother Care, you've talked about, Smith stores, and even some Tesco sometimes have good toys as well. Yeah.
Tesco's, yeah, they do. Now, and we have to be very careful of like all this online. Sometimes you see.
I wanted to mention that online. Yeah.
You have to be very careful. The way they will post all the toys, and you look at it and say, oh, they're nice and they're affordable compared to the one that I saw. Maybe the one you saw was 50 euros, and then you saw this one 20 euros. And as parents, because we want to cut our, cost, we'll be like, oh, it's grand. It's the same thing. Nothing really is different. Let me just buy. We have to be very careful. It's, the idea of choosing toys for young children or for children is really sensitive. We have to pay closer attention to it. There are some things that I said, there are some things that you have to take into consideration. Don't just, I'm getting the toy and that is it. So, I think.
Yes. And Florence, you're right. Like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record. So I used to do children's gifts in those days in Lagos, 2001, 2, 3, and before, And I remember that some people would rather go to inside Lagos to go and buy those toys I can break. And it used to make me wonder because, and from the beginning, I liked quality because when you buy quality and you buy toys from reputable sources, that, some of those, not some, the toys kind of like adhere, or the producers, even if you buy something from China and you buy it from a reputable source, the companies in China would have to adhere to international best practices and the standard codes. And I did an article, I think at beginning of the year, last year, when I talked about, the importance of international standards and British standards, and they all have their numbers. So I think that, the quality of the toys is important, because sometimes some people say, like back home in Nigeria, we're fond of doing this thing. When you bring high-end toys, expensive toys that are good, people will say, I beg, it's too costly, I beg, and this is not the same thing. Let me run to inside Balogu market.
Exactly.
And I'm going to see the same thing.
Then, and the counterfeits are all over the place. You see some toys that will look exactly like the ones that are expensive. Yeah. And they say, well, as Africans, so let me not be judgmental, use the word African. We think, oh, this is cheaper.
Like back home, yeah. And then they're like, some people will say say, and it's not just toy, but I want to use it, you go break them. But some of those toys have choking hazards.
They do.
Some of those ones have lead.
Yeah, I'm telling you, and this is why you see sometimes accident occurs, like through toys, choking hazards. I'm telling you, like giving young children something with some don't even know. They just give it to young children, and especially like babies, anything they take, they put it into their mouth. And maybe the toy, that's why it's important for babies. I will come to that. When you're giving toys to babies, make sure that you're giving them soft toys. Like babies, like teddies, soft things. Don't give them choking things that they can. And babies, they explode. They will just be crawling. Like they just put everything into their mouth. And that's why you see that accident will just happen. And then these are the things that we can prevent. Like the saying, prevention is better than cure. There are some things that we can prevent before it actually happens. So, I hope when people are watching this, some of the people that will be watching the replay, I hope they'll be able to take note of all of the things that they have to take into consideration before buying toys for children. And like you said, another thing to also take into consideration is safety. Safety is really important. You have to make sure that the toys, they are going to be safe for your children. And for instance, like you said, like check out for international standards. Like here in Ireland, we have the CE mark, the safety mark. So you check out for all of this safety when you're buying the toys. Even from the toys, it's going to state the age. So let's say your child is 3. You look at it, age 3, it's going to say if you have those CE mark. And some toys would even say this toy cannot be used for children under the age of, they would always specify. And it's important that we take all of this into consideration. Sometimes they will say, okay, the toy is not good for children age 5. You look at it, sometimes, well, I'm going to buy it. It doesn't really matter. My child will use it. My child is going to have fun with it. But those people that specify the age range, it was specified for a reason. I'm telling you, I hope I'm making sense. It was specified.
Well, absolutely. You're absolutely making sense because I really, really agree with everything you're saying. And like I said, I had an article that I did, and one of the articles, you helped me. I interviewed you, and I think we talked about reading for children. And then another one, of course, I talked about toys as well. And I also approached you. I also interviewed you, and we talked about, and all of that. So it's important that we follow the age appropriate things, and everything that the manufacturers write is very important. They have written for a reason, and we have to follow those instructions. Yes.
Yeah, they're really very important. So I just want everyone to take note of it. We are all learning. Like I said, when I first started, we've all made our mistakes in the past. I have made my mistakes in the past, okay? But it's from engaging in learning, it has really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And that's one of the reasons why I started my channel, my Facebook page, that, I could contribute. There's some people that needs to know this, with parents of young children that, and thankfully for this, your channel, your network, what you're doing as well, it's going to be able to enlighten people out there that do not just go about buying toys for children. These are the things that you have to take into consideration. So those are the things that, you have to take into consideration anyway when buying toys for young children.
Fantastic. Now, let me just quickly check what I have on YouTube. I have Everyday Matters. She's a channel as well. I think she's your friend.
Yes.
And I watch her sometimes. I really like what she's doing. She says, hello, host. Hello, everyone. And I'll say to her, hello, beautiful. I love what you do. And I watch you. And maybe one time you'll come on my show as well. And yes, Florence, you said something about, which is very important. You said something about, buying sources and toys from reputable sources. So we talked about the shops, the shops that we know. Then what about someone living in Nigeria that wants to buy something online?
So what I'm going to say for some people living in Nigeria that you want to buy toys from online, I would say make sure that you check those toys carefully. Okay, like I've said earlier, like the age, check for the age, and the online store. Are there reputable sources? Well, this is the question that you have to ask yourself. And in relation to buying toys online as well, it's different. You can't actually see them, but when you go to the store, you can actually see the toys that you're buying. But online, you can't see them. And you also know that online is just a matter of guessing. You don't know what the toy is going to look like. Sometimes some toys might actually be smaller, but online it will come as if they are, I'm telling you, there was one time I bought something, it was a mic. So the way it was portrayed online, I thought, yeah, it was a lovely mic. I'm telling you, when it arrived, it was actually small.
Where to plug the mic?
I'm like, is this what I paid for? What is this? But online, it looks as if it was, something big, something that I would really like, But so that's why, like, if you're living in Nigeria or anywhere, even People Island as well, America, you can always order toys online, but just be careful, okay? You need to check that the age, check for the safety. And one thing I'm going to say about online is, do they have a contact details? It's important as well. That if you can contact them if anything happens. There's some toys that they are selling online that they don't even have a phone number. They don't have email address where you can contact them. And then you will just go about. I think there's a comment. There's a comment.
Let's see the comment here. But make your point and then I'll read the comment, yeah.
Okay. So like I was saying, like check that they have emails, they have phone numbers that you can reach them if anything happens. This is important because let's say, for instance, now, if you buy the toys online and they are not easily traceable, you can't trace them, God forbid, if anything happens, you're going to be at the loss yourself. You're going to bear the blame. And it's coming back to, I need to really stress this, it's coming back to cost as well. Sometimes we look at the money and we see something that is cheaper online. Well, I'm going to buy it, it's cheaper. Let's look beyond the cost. Let's look beyond the price. This is one thing I'm going to say. We need to look beyond the price. Don't look at it and say, okay, it's 20 euros, it's 5,000. Well, I'm going to buy it. It's better for you to buy quality than quantity, like you said earlier. So make sure that they are reputable sources. Make sure that they have like phone numbers. They have a contact that you can email them. And one thing I'm going to say lastly, before I let you say, make sure that you can look them online, check them online. Go into this and search in depth who these people are. And before you buy the toys, underneath, there would always be recommendation from people. The way people...
And reviews.
Reviews, that's the word I'm looking for, reviews. So make sure you read reviews as well. Because from reading the reviews, you will definitely know. Some people will say, do not buy this toy. If about, you're laughing, if about 2 or 3 people are saying the same thing, please run. I'm telling you.
Your life.
Please run, do not buy it. But you can see that all of this will take time. It's not just something that you're going to decide in a day. So you need to check, read all the reviews. What are people saying? Okay, if they're saying don't buy them, if they're saying they're not reputable source, my sisters, my brothers, please run
for your life.
Don't even go there. The way sometimes we gamble, and we're talking about our children here, okay? And if you're working with children, we're talking about the children that you're working with. So let us not endanger the lives of our children. All in the cost of because of the cost.
Saving money,
saving money. So it's really important that we take note of these things as well. Yeah. So I think, in relation to online, those are the things that you actually need to take into consideration.
Yeah. Now, based on my experience, right, as a mother of 4 children, I have done this. My first child is 24 and my last child is 11. So I have done this toy business for a long time. I think that people who are living in Nigeria would say, okay, where can we get toys in Nigeria? I think that if you go to Lagos, or even there are some shops, I know sometimes things are overpriced because of the dollar rate, but there are some shops that sell quality items. And I think that, we have to sometimes overlook cost and get quality items for our children. And quality when you see quality.
Exactly.
So I think that if you can't get things online, there are some shops inside Lagos, in Ikonri, that bring things. And we know what quality things look like. We know what the substandard, let me not just say China, because we all get things from China, but we know what the substandard things look like. So I don't think that we should compromise cost over quality if we want to get things for our children. So before I continue with the next question, if you are a first-time viewer and you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Ibinabo Enebi, and help my channel grow. And if you and join this conversation, I'd like you to kindly leave your comments in the comment section below. If you're watching via Zoom, and if you're watching via YouTube, leave your comments in the comment box. And then also, I'd like you to kindly like this video and feel free to share it. So I want to read a comment by one of our listeners. So 1 second now. So talking of age appropriate, how about children with high IQ that do not function well with toys of their exact age, but are good with toys a bit higher than their age? They relate and learn more with these ones. Sorry, let me read it again. But are good with toys a bit higher than their age, and they relate and learn more with those ones. I suppose it's all about observation and knowing your child and assessing their needs.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that's why I also said, like, you observe the children as well. But I'm talking from a child development point of view. Okay. That's why it's always like age appropriate. You consider the age. And even though, like the comment she said, even though it's age appropriate, you still need to observe the children. Like the comment that she said now, you could have a child that is the IQ is above, then you definitely know. Just to buttress her point as well, you also know that there are some children that they have a lower IQ, that she said as well. Maybe even though the child is 3, but the child can only function the age of 2. So that's why it's coming back to like what she said as well, observation. So from observing your children as well, you'll be able to know their needs, and then you will know what they want. So those are valid points as well. And I also said that it's all about, age appropriate. You observe the children as well, then to be able to know their interests, their needs, what they like. So yeah, it's the same as well. But these are just the points that I've listed so far that would guide you, as parents or as educators, that will guide you in relation to when you're going about, purchasing toys for your children.
Fantastic, Florence. And let's talk about practical. Okay. So, let's. What I want us to do now is to age appropriate toys for the different ages. So from 0 to 3.
Okay. So like
child.
Okay. So like from birth to 3, they are babies. So it's important that when you're giving them things, you give them soft toys. Okay. So give them soft toys, like maybe teddies, but you have to check out. It's all about checking for the safety mark as well. Is it safe? Is it age appropriate? Those toys, those
choking hazards.
Very good. Choking hazard. It would always little batteries, always specify, and you will know. And for babies as well, you could get like storybooks.
Fantastic.
I'm telling you, storybooks are appropriate for babies. I'm going to even encourage you. Let me just encourage you, if you have babies, the best gift you could ever give them is storybooks. Buy them storybooks, read stories. And it's been proven that I know I'm bringing lots of research.
No, it's important because we had the conversation. We had an article last year that we talked about the importance of reading to your children early. And I interviewed you. Yeah. And if you want to read the article or even other articles about reading or early childhood education, you can check on my website, is onewomanity.com. Florence, you were the one that actually, you don't know, but my engagement with you in that subject matter was what actually brought about me having to do a YouTube, a video channel eventually.
Wow.
So let's talk about that. Yeah. So choking, yeah?
Yeah. So like I was saying, like with babies now, storybook is the best for them. It's been proven by research that during the pregnancy stage, that's even the best time we should start reading to the unborn child.
Yes.
Because it's from them, you're exposing them to words, you're exposing them to languages. And research has been done. The children the unborn child that they are being read to, when these children are born in the real world, they are exposed to words already. They are doing well in terms of vocabulary, language. Yeah. So reading is very good for babies. And I've seen this in the past. The way some people would say to me, oh, babies, can they really hear what they are saying? Can they really hear what you're saying? Can they? Let us not get this wrong. They can hear you. And that's when they are even going to pick up words. So when you're reading, it's all about age-appropriate books as well. Like storybooks. When you're reading it to them, they'll be able to pick up words and they will start to use it. Look at it, for instance. you'd always notice that the first words that baby will say is mom, dad, papa, mama. It's the people around them, the people that they see do things with them. So it's important that, like story books as well is good for babies. So you could read stories. Okay, I'm going to encourage you. Story books is actually one of the best gifts you can give to babies like this Christmas time. And books can't be enough. Do not say, I think, it's too much for my baby, giving my baby. Books can't be enough. You get as many books as you want and you read it. And then when you're reading stories, you're building this interaction with them. It's a bonding time. It's a time that you're bonding with your child, okay? So, and the child will they bond with you. They'll be, they know you. They start to get to know you well. Storytelling will actually help as well. We build this interaction between you and the child. Yeah.
I think that we're talking from a personal experience, though. I think that reading to your children is very important. I know that when I was growing up, like when I was little, right, I was read to. I had my elder sisters. I had my dad would always go to buy books, get me books in the library. We had a lot of books, I remember. And then my sister works in the library, so we'd always go to get books as well. There was a lot of story books. And then even just when, of course, my nephews and my nieces, now they're all grown and they're all, professionals. And I remember that, their mothers would also used to give, just as how their mothers gave me books, they also give their children books. So sometimes you start from the body parts, you start from, little things around the house. And then I remember also nursery rhymes as well. I used to love nursery rhymes as well. Those kind of things, would also help to open up the minds of the children. I think that, when you read books to your children, you open up their minds and the reasoning ability, and you expand their vocabulary.
I'm telling you.
Like I'm talking of my personal experience. When you read to kids, you expand their vocabulary. You're like, wow.
And they kind of like, they get used to it because it's just like what you said. The ones that their parents encouraged them to read to them, you saw how they were. It's all about the environment, We as the adults, we have to be like positive role models. Like you want your children to read as well. You have to cultivate the habit of reading.